from Llama 4 recently.
No, I don't know what Meta's going to do. You know, they were going to come out with Behemoth, and they never did, right? They're like, what's the point of putting out this thing that is trillions of parameters large and sucks, right? I don't know what Meta's going to do. I think they may be giving up on writing models, and they may focus on things outside of frontier models. We'll see.
Dating.
Yeah, however, there's new players in the model space. So who's to say if somebody brand new can come up with a model, why can't Meta do it? You know, it's not like it's a race that already is, underway and it's too late to start. It's more of a structural thing that needs to happen. I don't know. But I do want to talk a little bit about models since it was asked.
Well, and we have another follow-up question. What model do you recommend for backend or AI ML programming?
Okay, yeah. And this is like in response to the discussion that somebody was asking about what to use for a certain thing and whether to use LLMs via API. And somebody said, that is very expensive. And I said, yeah, but there's cheaper models coming out all the time. This is, speaking of multimodal AI, makers of Olmo, the most open model in the world because they share everything, like how to build it, the data, the training recipes, etc. They came out with an open vision language model yesterday, I think.
8 billion, so you could run that.
You can run that locally, yeah.
That's why I'm looking for that RTX 39.
Yeah, I want to highlight this. Minimax, 27 cents per input token, right? And this is a highly powerful agent model. Minimax is definitely something to keep an eye on. GLM 4.7, a little pricier, 40 cents per input token. But you compare that to like Opus 4.5 pricing, that is
premium,
$5. And they brought that down from like $15, right? So we're looking at one order of magnitude here. And so that is huge. Gemini Flash 3, it's very interesting that Gemini Flash 3 is now competing with these Chinese models on price. This is cheap, 50 cents per million input tokens. So I think this is a powerful model. I mentioned it's not my go-to for programming, but maybe for some front-end stuff or for a quality assurance layer that takes a look at a screenshot of a front-end and determines something, I'm sure. For visual reasoning, for sure. But one thing I want to call out here is two things. NVIDIA Nemotron, which NVIDIA has put out this new, this is that Mamba transformer hybrid that I mentioned. Look at this price. This is the free one. There's a free layer. Yeah, it's a great price. Yeah, but you have limited free usage. 6 cents per million input tokens. And this is a decent model. I mean, it's not like GLM 4.7, but if you're looking at operating on things, not necessarily maybe doing spec-driven development, but maybe like you need to process some data or you need to do some things, like consider this. Like, first of all, you could run this locally. If you have a powerful enough, GPU or a computer with unified memory, it's definitely something to consider. And then second of all, DevStral 2. A lot of people don't know that this came out. The first one was a bit of a flop, but the second one is amazing. I mean, I don't call it a flop, but even OpenHands collaborated with them, but it just, was eclipsed by all these other models. But DevStral 2 on the Pareto frontier is amazing. And look, again, I opened the free one, 5 cents, 5 cents per million. So now we're talking 2 orders of magnitude difference from Opus 4.5 at 1% of the cost. So obviously Opus 4.5 is way better than DevStral 2. But is it 100 times better? How can you quantify that? If you have the right orchestration in place where you pass little components, little sub items that take a look at that PRD and load one thing from that thing, like maybe it's worth considering this swarm of cheap small models that run at 1/100th of the price as frontier models.
Well, and to think about, a swarm of cheap small things is how we got, the personal computer, right? Yeah. There has always been that tension of the small cheap commodity versus the big mega mainframe, and I think there's room for both, just like there's room for these small cheap models. And you think, okay, one shot with Opus or 100 cycles of Ralph. Lovable is pushing too hard their lovable cloud, which kind of doesn't go anywhere, and I don't like that. I think
a key thing definitely is speaking of portability is being able to switch between tools.
Did you like that clip? Well, check out the full episode. Leonardo and I put Open PROSE through its paces. We check out Ralph Wiggum and the Ralph Loop. All sorts of great discussion related to AI coding, different models, different agents, different harnesses. Check it out. The link is in the description. Also, please join our Discord community. We've got great content, great discussions, and subscribe to our channel if you haven't already.